Hey guys, today we begin in a place where the wind always feels like it knows more than it says, and the clouds hang heavy as if they're listening for something ancient to stir. The skies above Latveria are brooding bruised purples, gunmetal gray threaded through with flickers of unnatural green. Thunder doesn't just rumble here, it recites. Long syllables, heavy consonants. You stand at the edge of a scorched plain, and let me warn you up front. You probably won't survive this if you brought only logic. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. I love seeing bedtime traditions from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Smoke rises from Castle Doom, like it's being boiled from inside the stone itself. A tremor rolls beneath your feet, polite at first, like the earth is clearing its throat. Then it shifts, more insistent. A rhythm is forming in the land itself. You're not dreaming. Not yet. But the dream is dreaming you. Inside the castle, if you could see it, the iron corridors have gone dark, lit only by the flicker of green power from a single gauntlet resting atop a dais. Beside it, half-built machines blink and hum, wired into stone tablets cracked with runes. Doom is pacing, not his usual theatrical stroll. This one is methodical, measured. He's wearing the cloak today, the one lined with slivers of memory pulled from battles he doesn't speak of. And he's mumbling, to merge the sonic code with the mythic root, to bridge the machine's syntax with the echo's breath. Yeah, it's one of those days. Outside, the villagers whisper. Not words. No one says his name anymore. Not aloud, but gestures. A hand over the chest, a tap behind the ear. Signs passed down from a time before time. They know what's coming. Or at least they think they do. You meanwhile are still on the plains, watching the castle pulse with light. Then it happens. A crack not in the sky, but in the idea of sky. Like a fold in parchment being smoothed the wrong way. The air sizzles, then tears. Out of the split spills a shape. Long, angular, floating sideways. It's a structure, ancient, older than the land beneath it, carved from obsidian that reflects only what's forgotten, the Temple of Echoes. Now most historians believe Latveria is entirely fictional, a product of post-war European folklore exaggerated by comic books. But some fringe scholars argue that it's modeled after a cluster of forgotten settlements once mapped on a suppressed Ottoman chart from 1691. Those coordinates, by the way, intersect directly with a fault line known for resonant hallucinations, which brings us back to the temple. Doom smiles. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes, or maybe skips the eyes altogether and aims straight for your spine. He reaches for his gauntlet, and the room shudders. He's not going to attack anyone. Not yet. No, what Doom wants is far stranger. He wants to speak something into the temple, something no machine should ever pronounce. An incantation written in recursive binary. And just as he opens his mouth somewhere far from Latveria, a wooden finger taps stone. Once, then twice, then once more. Tap, 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 tap. The call has been heard. And Tung Tung Sahur, the wooden one, the keeper of breath pattern memory, begins his journey toward the crack. He is not fast. He is not loud, but he is coming. You see, Sahur doesn't need roads. The rhythm builds them beneath his feet. And the wind? Oh, the wind remembers him. As Doom lowers the gauntlet onto his wrist, somewhere out of sight, a palm-sized drum shivers on a shelf. Because something older than villainy has been stirred, and something gentler than war has begun to walk. You'd better lie back now. This won't be quick. And it won't be quiet, but it will be worth it. You crouch beside the ridge, dry moss crunching beneath your knees. Below you, the ruins of Zerkatli, a city once so acoustically perfect that whispered prayers from its temple could be heard verbatim in distant marketplaces. Now it's just wind and memory. And Doom. He doesn't stride, he glides. Cloaked in silver-threaded armor, face unreadable behind that infamous mask. Doom moves like he's certain the world was built to accommodate his weight. The soldiers behind him are not his usual Doombots. No, these are mercenaries dressed in scavenged robes charmed by coin and fear, but still very real. Their boots raise dust. Their fingers rest nervously on obsidian triggers. You meanwhile are holding a bowl of sound. Yes, sound. It's not a normal bowl. It's made of clay pressed from 5 different riverbanks, each blessed during a lunar eclipse. The inside is lined with mother of pearl and old glyphs carved so deep, the air still remembers them. You tap its rim once, and the jungle hushes in response. A warning. A test. Doom doesn't hear it yet. He's too busy studying the Temple of Echoes. A collapsed husk from the outside, but you know better. Inside, the chambers twist sound into shape. Some say the temple was built not just to store voices, but to trap them. Whole conversations still swirl in the corners. And Doom wants to break it open. He thinks it contains power. He's not wrong. The Temple of Echoes was designed by a civilization so ancient, they didn't write with ink, but intonation. Their laws were sung, their spells whispered, even their blueprints, if you can call them that, were chanted into ceramic bricks before firing. Historians still argue whether these sonic foundations were intentional or coincidental. But one fragment of song remains carved over the main entrance. What is spoken stays. What listens builds. You wait until Doom raises his gauntlet to the crumbling gate. A pulse of green energy crackles from his wrist, humming with impossible physics. You don't move. Not yet. Not until you hear it. Tap, 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 tap. It's not from your stick this time. It's from beneath the temple. The last seal is still responding. You rise slowly, step into view, and feel all 30 of Doom's mercenaries aim their weapons at your face. He pauses. Ah, he says, the wooden one. There's no mockery in his voice, just recognition. I've read your scrolls. He continues, voice bouncing oddly in the stillness. You're real. Or, real enough, you nod. I've tasted your designs, he adds. Every angle, every fold. I've reverse engineered 3 of your doorways. You blink. That one was a taco metaphor. He lowers his arm, gestures around him. This place was always meant to hold something greater, he says. The Mesoamericans thought it was God's song. You and I both know it's more than that. He steps closer. The earth does not like it. You came to stop me, he says. Of course you did. But we both know containment is temporary. You hold up your bowl. He stops. Because it's singing now, not loudly, just a low note. Minor key, almost maternal. You place it gently on the ground. And then you do the only thing you shouldn't do in front of Doom. You kneel. Because this isn't a showdown. It's an offering. Doom watches wary. His hands twitch once barely perceptible. A micro recalibration of his power gauntlets. He thinks you're luring him into a trap. You are, but not one he can see. You tap the ground again. Tap, 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 tap. And the earth answers. Below your feet, the buried layers of the temple breathe awake. You feel the sound, not through ears, but joints. It vibrates up your spine, across your ribs. Even Doom takes one subtle half-step back. The mercenaries shift. Then it happens. The entrance to the temple inhales. Not metaphorically, not magically. Acoustically, the air bends inward. The doorway reshapes. From a crumbling arch into a perfect sound trap, a chamber mouth engineered to pull in noise and memory like a sinkhole. Doom stares, and for a second you doubt. Because Doom is not just arrogance and armor. He is preparation, and now he smiles. You think you conceal me, he says. You don't respond. He walks toward the gate, arms wide. I've walked through Dreamgate's wooden man. I've unstitched time with one syllable. You think this relic can hold me. You raise your stick. He charges. The first blow is not physical. It's a word. Doom utters something in a language you do not know, and every tree in the valley bends away. birds vanish. The stone around the gate cracks, but you tap. Tap, 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 again and again. And this time, the rhythm does not come from the earth. It comes from every surface. The bowl hums. The walls echo. Even Doom's own boots betray him thudding in perfect time with your pattern. Because rhythm is not about resistance. It's about absorption. You are not sealing him in. You are folding him inward, like a sentence inside a whisper. Doom reaches the gate, and the temple listens. The doorway consumes him not in a fiery explosion, but a compression. Doom's outline flickers, fractures, then folds. Sound spirals around him like an origami tornado. He tries to shout something, one final word, but it comes out silent. Then, silence. The temple mouth is empty. Only the bowl remains now still, cooling, satisfied. You pick it up gently, cradle it. Behind you, one of the mercenaries drops his weapon and runs. The others follow. You are alone, except for the drumbeat in the stone beneath you. It echoes once more up through your feet. Not the call to battle, the call to remember. You sit there a while long enough for the shadows to shift and the temperature to cool by a few degrees. Doom is gone. The temple has closed its throat. And in your lap, the bowl is warm like tea, like breath, like a kept promise. But you don't leave just yet. You know how magic works. Not the sparkle fingers kind, but the kind baked into foundation stones and old lullabies. The kind that sticks in the air after something too important just happened. You wait until that quiet changes flavor from echo to exhale before you rise. You sling your satchel across your back. The bowl fits neatly inside, though it hums once in protest. Like a cat that doesn't like being crated even when it's for its own good, the jungle receives you without fanfare. There's no applause, no parade, not even the faint chirp of a bird daring to resume its morning schedule. The only sound is your own footfall, soft, even, and rhythmic. Tap, 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 tap. It isn't deliberate, it just is. You head toward the place where the jungle ends, where the terrain lifts into dry rock and gravel, and eventually spills into highland cliffs. The kind of place old mapmakers used to draw dragons. Or if they were feeling poetic, beyond here be wind. You're halfway through the ravine when you hear it. Not footsteps, not voices, an echo, but not one of yours. You pause, kneel, press your wooden fingers to the stone wall. There it is again, a whisper, folded over itself. Fragile, like someone trying to speak with their mouth full of sand. You lean in closer. The voice says, "I'm not sealed." You blink, not because you're surprised. You expected something like this. Doom never really loses. He reroutes, recalculates, reinvents, but this is a return transmission. The temple should only echo what's fed into it, not originate new sound. You stand slowly and glance back towards Zakatli. The ruins are a haze behind you, distant enough now to feel mythical. The voice continues. This is only Act 1. You frown, because this is not Doom. The voice is too old, too gravel-wrapped. It sounds like it was buried 1,000 years before language was invented. It sounds like stone learning to speak. And then you remember, there were rumors, among temple engineers, sound workers, whisper weavers, that the Temple of Echoes didn't trap voices. It multiplied them, that if you fed it something strong enough, something stubborn, something unkillable, it wouldn't just echo. It would incubate. You walk faster. The bowl in your satchel hums louder, almost urgently now. You have to calm it, pressing one hand through the flap, like you're petting a small frightened dog. You reach the next marker, an old stone altar cracked in 3 weathered, with lichens shaped like spirals. There's an inscription etched deep in the moss. What cannot die must echo. You close your eyes, take a long, slow breath. This changes things, because if Doom is still in there, not physically, but rhythmically, then you haven't ended anything. You've resonated it, and resonance spreads. You open your satchel and lift the bowl. Hold it to your ear. It's silent now, but you know better. Silence, as the ancient Maya believed, wasn't absence. It was storage. Some believed their temples could remember noises, and release them centuries later under the right conditions, after storms, eclipses, or the birth of certain constellations. Historians still argue whether those beliefs were metaphor or misunderstood science, but in your lap you hold proof. You start humming, softly, steadily. Hum, 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 hum. The bowl quivers, not to match your tune, but to correct it. The hum shifts into minor key, then into drone, then into a 3-beat pulse, so low it barely exists. This is not doom trying to escape. This is doom trying to duplicate. You stop humming, place the bowl gently back inside the satchel, and change course. You no longer walk toward the mountains. You head for the vault of quiet. It's far. You'll need to cross salt flats and firefly groves, sleep beneath stone monoliths shaped like bird bones. But the vault is the only place sound cannot live. Not just echo-free, echo-proof. The structure was carved underground between veins of obsidian and basalt that naturally dampen frequency. Entire wars were planned there because no spy, human or spectral, could listen in. The air itself is heavy. Words die mid-sentence. That's where the bowl must go. That's where you must go. But first, you sit down again, because rushing would make things worse. You need to prepare not just with tools or traps or songs, with rhythm. You take out your stick. It glows faintly now, and in the earth beneath you, something stirs. You drum once, then again, then pause. Tap, 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 tap. The bowl stops humming, and for now, just for now, all is still. The vault isn't marked on maps, because it isn't supposed to be. It sits beneath a bluff carved from black stone, a place where even moss doesn't stick, and birds fly wide circles around the hilltop. You reach it just before dusk, the sky molting from gold to violet shadows, melting like ink along the cliffs. Your stick guides the way not by light, but by weight. Each step, it pulls gently downward, as if eager for silence. At the base of the bluff, you find the door, not a dramatic portal. No sigils or serpent carvings, just a narrow slit between two stones, like someone forgot to finish a hallway. You slip sideways through the crack bowl tucked under your armstick, gripped loosely in your left hand. Inside darkness so pure it almost hisses. You click your tongue. No echo. Perfect. The vault of quiet is real. You breathe deep. The air is thick, mineral-rich, a little damp. It smells of clay and old copper. Beneath your feet, the path slopes downward in a spiral, always curving left. No torches, no inscriptions. Just curve after curve of smooth obsidian walls. And then finally, you reach the chamber. Round, silent. Padded with woven mats and stone shelves holding nothing. This is the place. You set the bowl on a small platform in the center of the floor. Its surface is grooved like a phonograph plate for giants. The bowl immediately settles. The glow fades. The hum goes still. You've done it. But you don't leave. Because of course the stick won't let you. It twitches in your hand. You try to ignore it. Sit down, cross-legged, palms open. The stick shifts again. You glance down. It's pulsing. Once, twice. Pause. And then tap, 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 tap. But not from you. From behind. You turn slowly. There's no one there. But on the wall opposite the bowl, the stone is sweating. Not water sound. Tiny rivulets of shimmer ripple across the surface like the skin of a drumhead caught in a breeze. You walk closer, raise the stick. It shivers, and suddenly the wall opens. Not physically, no crack or crumble. Just a widening feeling like a space-making room. Inside memory, Doom's memory, you see a throne, chrome, floating inches above marble. Books suspended midair, written in equations and Latin and rage. He stands there, hands clasped behind his back, surveying nothing, just waiting. And then he turns, not to face you, to face himself. It's Doom arguing with Doom. One version is cloaked in Mesoamerican feathers and obsidian glyphs etched into the folds of his armor. The other, classic green cloak steel mask, rage simmering like low thunder. They circle each other, and you hear what passes for dialogue between egos this size. You weren't supposed to submit. I didn't. I pivoted. You're trapped. I'm planted. The wall ripples again. Dooms fade. You stumble back. The bowl pulses once, as if sighing or warning. Historians still argue whether ego is an artifact of culture or chemistry, whether power corrupts or whether it merely attracts the already spoiled. But one theory whispered by philosophers who've been exiled twice claims this: if you trap doom, you don't bury him. You germinate him. That can't happen. Not again. So you take your stick and you drum. Tap, 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 tap. Louder. Again. This time the pulse goes outward. It hits the bowl, the walls, the shimmer. Everything stills. You feel the sound leave your hands like a thread. You tie it to the bowl, then to the stone, then to the stick itself. You braid a knot of echo, a lullaby turned lock, and the memory vanishes. The shimmer dries. The bowl sleeps. You collapse. Not from exhaustion, well, not just that. From relief. The vault holds. You let your eyes adjust to the dark again. Reach into your bag and remove the last thing, a folded square of red cloth. You place it under the bowl, then pull a wax tablet from your side pocket and inscribe the last phrase. Do not knock, he's listening. You place the tablet on the platform, stand, and start to climb. Back up the spiral path. Each step feels lighter now. Like the air is loosening around your bones. Like the world is finally letting go of its breath. And when you emerge into moonlight, the jungle is silent, but not heavy, just clean. You take one step forward, then another, and from somewhere distant, but not distant enough, you hear it. Not an echo, not a word, just a single clear beat. Tap, then tap, tap, then nothing. You grip the stick tighter, not in fear, in respect, because you know now what the temple taught you. You don't beat doom with strength. You outlast him with rhythm. You walk the jungle path in silence. The stars blink above, no longer distant. They feel close now, like coals held just beyond reach, warming the skin without burning. Your feet glide over root and moss, guided not by sight, but by cadence. The air smells of tamarind and wet bark. Somewhere behind you, the temple of echoes exhales. It's over, but not quite, because the beat hasn't left you. It's changed. Calmed? Yes. But it lingers in the bones, in the hinge of each shoulder and the arc of each breath. You're not going home. You are home now. Because you've built something doom couldn't, a story that breathes back. The village appears slowly, like a painting developing in water. Small huts, low fires, hammocks swaying between trees like half-finished thoughts. No one rushes to greet you. No one needs to. They know you returned because the wind did, because the shadows stopped twitching, because the frogs are singing again. You head for the fire circle. There on the stone seat, where old legends settle in for the night, sits the scroll girl. Older now. Or maybe just clearer. Her hair is braided with silver beads. Her eyes shine like someone who's memorized the stars' bedtime stories and added her own chapters. She doesn't speak. She pats the seat beside her. You sit. She slides something into your lap. It's small, wrapped in woven palm. You open it. Inside, a miniature drum, no bigger than a mango, painted with a symbol for silence. You raise an eyebrow. She shrugs, then mouths two words, just in case. You smile, not the grin of someone who triumphed, the smile of someone who endured. Because here's the truth sealing. Doom didn't win anything. Not really. Not forever. He doesn't disappear. He waits. He lingers in cracks, in echoes, in that arrogant curve of a question someone dares ask too loud near an old ruin. But you've left your rhythm behind, and rhythm doesn't fear return. Rhythm prepares for it. Across the clearing, the fire flickers high for a moment, casting shadows up the trunks like stories looking for a new wall. You watch them dance, and then softly, the scroll girl begins to hum. It's not the beat. Not exactly. It's new, but it borrows the rhythm, like a language teaching itself how to adapt. You join her, not with words, Just a quiet drum roll against the tiny mango-sized instrument in your lap. Tap, 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 tap. The villagers gather, slowly, not to celebrate, to witness, to make sure the rhythm doesn't vanish when the threat does. You've become part of it now. Your breath feeds it. Your stillness shelters it. Your story joins a line of drummers, builders, sealers who knew that even the darkest echoes could be softened by wood, by breath, by will. Historians still debate the true meaning of the Temple of Echoes. Some argue it was a sound chamber. Others say it was built to test memory retention through ritual rhythm. A few claim it was never a temple at all, but a mirror built to reflect the world back at its noisiest self and demand stillness in return. Only one thing is certain. The moment you placed the bowl, the moment you tied, sound to silence, the temple changed. And so did you. You blink slowly. The night thickens into sleep. Your hand rests gently on the drum, not guarding it, cradling it, because you're not afraid of doom anymore. Not because he's gone, because you understand now. He doesn't want to be stopped. He wants to be heard. And some stories are only worth repeating if you change the rhythm. Wind stirs the trees like lullaby fingers. The fire crackles one last time, and the jungle exhales again, this time a sigh of relief. You lie back. The stars don't watch you tonight. They hum. They thank you for keeping the rhythm, for listening, for staying. And just before your eyes close, the drum in your lap gives one soft pulse. Tap. And that's enough. You lie there a long time, not asleep, not quite awake, just settled, as if the weight of rhythm has curled into the curve of your spine and made peace there. Around you, the jungle stills into a whisper. The trees don't sway. They lean as if listening too. The night is warm, soft, kind. Above, the sky remains open, no portals, no shimmer, just the steady flicker of stars exhaling stories. You don't need to remember the temple anymore, or the bowl, or the way the sound curled like a question behind your ribs. You did what was needed, and now the echo is at rest. Let your hands go still. Let your breath slow. Let your heartbeat hum its own steady rhythm, quiet. Calm, a drumbeat folded into silence. There's no more to build tonight, no more to seal, only dreams. And if someday a whisper returns, low, electric, curious, you'll know what to do. Tap once, then twice, then wait. The world will answer, and you'll be ready. The end. Sweet dreams.